This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I've been covering the absolute, just despicable satanic content that Netflix has been firing out pretty much week after week. Shows about cannibalism, Satanism, witchcraft, glorifying this stuff over and over and over. And I covered the chilling adventures of Sabrina, which is based on Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And in that trailer, I showed everybody how they actually have a Baphomet statue. It's not the actual statue that the Satanists have, the Satanic Temple, that, they go around the country and they always bring the statue anywhere that there's a Christian monument. But I mentioned in the video how it was kind of funny that they were using the Baphomet as a symbol of evil and learning the dark and, Satanism and all that stuff. And ironically, or maybe not so ironically, because I know they listen to my channel, the Satanists are apparently suing Netflix over the depiction of the Baphomet, and I guess over what they have is a copyright on the actual statue. So Netflix and whoever made the show, the creators of the show, copied the statue. So we have the Satanic Temple, the Satanists are suing Netflix over the use of the Baphomet in the chilling adventures of Sabrina. You can't make it up. So the statue is featured heavily in Netflix Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So I guess they use it over and over inside the show. I only covered the trailer. I have not watched the show. I do not plan on watching it unless somebody tells me that there's something I need to see to cover to make people aware of, what they're actually doing and what they're actually trying to say and what they're preparing people for. But it says the statue's featured heavily in the show. It appears to have brought down the wrath of the real-life statue's owners, the Satanic Temple. The Satanic Temple co-founder Lucien Grace tweeted on Sunday that the organization, which is described as a religious and political activism group with several chapters around the country, would be taking legal action against Netflix and the teen supernatural series for appropriating the temple's copyrighted design for a monument of the occult deity Baphomet. And you can see the tweet here from Graves. He says, "Yes, we're taking legal action, appropriating our copyrighted monument design to promote their asinine satanic panic fiction." And as you all know, I've covered the Satanic Temple for years. They're always going after Christians and this using satanic panic, which is a trigger word, it's a mind control word, to make us all look like crazy people, not admitting to this stuff. And I'm not claiming that all the individuals who are involved in the Satanic Temple are into the things that I cover on this channel, because there's obviously a lot of young teens. They market this towards people, you get your certificate, you get this stuff, you could join a group and an organization. So, a lot of people don't know what they're even involved in. The same can be said with low-level ranking Freemasons. So I'm not accusing anybody. I mean, obviously, nobody should be joining this stuff. That's a fact. But they're always, pushing that they're a political organization trying to provide political change and religious freedom and all that stuff, which I don't believe for one second, but that is the appearance on the outside. And I've talked about, the Satanic Church, Anton LaVey's Satanic Church, or the Church of Satan, the Satanic Temple, and all of these satanic organizations act as fronts where, they go out there and they're political activists and they try to convince people that, Satanism is not real. They don't actually worship Satan, but they use all of these symbols and signs and all this stuff. So, I mean, to me, it's just an oxymoron. It's ridiculous. But back to the story, because I think it's pretty funny that they're going to be suing Netflix. We have satanic Netflix versus, and satanic Hollywood versus the Satanic Temple for the use of the Baphomet. It says, on the series adaptation of the Archie comic book, teen witch Sabrina is enrolled at the Academy of Unseen Arts, a school for witchcraft at which the Baphomet statue is prominently featured. Now, obviously, the Satanists aren't going to be happy about that because they don't incorporate their Baphomet statue or the Baphomet with witchcraft, even though it clearly is satanic, occultic, used with witchcraft and the duality crap and all this stuff that they preach. They, have the Baphomet statue and they try to tell everybody that it's a symbol of religious freedom because they want the Baphomet statue out there and in front of public buildings, in front of government buildings and all that stuff. So they're not going to tell people, that the Baphomet is about witchcraft and about human sacrifice and all that stuff. So they don't like how it's being depicted in the Netflix series. But in reality, the way the Netflix series probably is depicting it is truth, because if it's being shown as a symbol of witchcraft and evil, well, that's correct. This is in addition to Graves claiming that the show has lifted the statue's design from the central image of the temple, which he says went to some financial and creative effort to create the copyrighted monument. Greaves is concerned with Sabrina's portrayal of Satanism itself. See, and that's really what they stand for. They don't want people looking at, their organization as something that believes in Satan himself, which, like I've said a million times, why don't you just name it something else then? Oh, for marketing purposes? Oh, to make money? You know what I mean? Who's buying it, right? You're using the pentagram, using the Baphomet. I mean, come on. These are all symbols of the occult. Everybody knows it. And then they go, ooh, satanic panic. So the issue isn't the appropriation of satanic religious symbols to portray beliefs and activities that bear no relation to what the practitioners of Satanism believe. We don't own Satanism. We can only try to educate people as to what Satanism means. So those who identify with it, when we're countering irresponsible fictions that feed real-world moral panics, they're always speaking like this. They're trying to sound so much more intelligent than everyone else. It's one thing that there's another ignorant television portrayal of a satanic panic-style satanic cult that engages in cannibalism, but it's another thing that they've used our unique and copyrighted Baphomet monument as the central icon of that cult. We spent a year and a half designing and financing our monument, which has become a central image of our own organization. To see it appropriated as the Sabrina monument while associated with cannibalistic rites is unacceptable. We owe it to everybody who identifies with us to rectify the situation. As for what can rectify the situation, they say the Satanic Temple says they have a simple demand. Netflix needs to remove the image of their monument from the show. They are not to use it in future seasons. Both the real life and TV statue are clearly the offspring of illustrations and wood carvings that date back hundreds of years, but the resemblance between the two is remarkable. Listen, you can't copyright the Baphomet, just like you can't copyright the cross. But I guess what they've done is they've copyrighted the actual monument, which, we see, like I've said a million times, them towing around the country everywhere. And the monument in the show actually does resemble it. I mean, if you have to really look at it to see that it's not the actual one. But I think theirs is like made of bronze, and this looks like it's just like plaster or something. But clearly they're imitating that monument in the show, so they're probably going to win their suit. Both the real life and TV statue are clearly the offspring of illustrations and wood carvings that date back hundreds of years, but the resemblance between the two is remarkable. Blah, 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 blah. And, the Satanic Temple goes on to tweet, I'm amazed that anybody's confused as to why we would seek legal remedy over Sabrina using our monument. Would they be an understanding of a fictional show that used a real mosque as the HQ of a terrorist cell, a fictional blood libel tale inflicting real-world Jews? The temple statue was first commissioned in 2014, so I don't need to go into it further. I just thought it was pretty funny because I did say that when I did the video on Sabrina. I made it clear that, okay, well, this is just another case of, you have the Satanic Temple, this Church of Satan, all these people saying that we don't believe in a true deity, we don't do these types of sacrifices. And then you have another depiction on these, shows that are showing all of these same symbols and, all of the secret teachings of Aleister Crowley and everything, all have the Baphomet, all have this stuff, and they've chosen to use this as a symbol for, political and religious freedoms and activism and all this other stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous. It really is. But, I wouldn't be surprised if they, what? I'm sure that the whole thing is a charade and a circus anyway. I mean, I don't know how you can really copy, unless they have some type of amazing lawyer, how you could copyright the copying of a statue of something that is kind of like not copyrightable, right? Like you can't copyright the actual Baphomet, just like you can't copyright a cross, or you can't, because, But regardless, we have the Satanists again suing, which is, one of their common things. So this time they're suing Netflix, which is good. Let's sue Netflix. And why don't we just shut Netflix down? That should be the end of the story. But you see these symbols always incorporated with black magic, with witchcraft, with the occult. And I don't know how many times over these people are going to deny what the Baphomet really represents. Saying that it represents nothing to do with evil and it represents balance is just a cover. It's just a front. And people worshiping a goat with breasts and a penis. And obviously the depiction that they use here, they don't have breasts on the statue because they know that in public they're not going to be able to put that out there because they'll say it's perverted or something like that. So they have it with a man's chest, just like the Satanic Temple does, which is just another form, just more little sneaky ways they deceive people. Because, people comment to me all the time, like, why do you say the Baphomet's got breasts and a penis? Like, look, the statue has, a man's chest. The real Baphomet statue has the breast and a penis, so maybe that's another way that the Satanists can actually win the lawsuit because they could say, well, how come you have a man's chest as well, just like ours? and the two children at the knees looking up. So it's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's all just a big joke. The fact that we were even talking about this stuff shouldn't be out there. There should be Baphomet statues. There shouldn't be Baphomet on the television. And people see it and they don't even know what it is. They're just like, oh, okay, cool, a statue of a giant goat man. Yeah, a giant goat man, right? And human sacrifice is involved, and cannibalism is involved again, right? The article even talks about cannibalism being on the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. The Satanic Temple talks about cannibalism being on the show, and they don't want to incorporate it with the image of their organization, even though Satanists are cannibalism. So maybe these people aren't, but Satanism revolves around cannibalism. I mean, it's just more of the same stuff. So I wanted to just let everybody know, Satanic Temple suing Netflix. Let's see how that works out. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.